Are you a businesswoman who's finding it challenging to get your ideas across and make a point? Welcome to Speakers Who Get Results with Elizabeth Bachman, a podcast dedicated to helping women get the visibility they want, whether making a speech or talking in a meeting. If you want to see how your presentation skills are doing, please go to our free 4-minute assessment at www.speakforresultsquiz.com. Elizabeth uses her 30 years of experience as an opera director to help business professionals become better presenters. This special series explores the relationship between business and art. And now, on to the show. Have you ever heard, "Oh, I'm an artist. Money is beneath me"? Or, those flaky artists. Why can't they be more businesslike? I'm Elizabeth Bachman of Speakers Who Get Results, your host. And I'm here to tell you that there is a relationship between business and art. It's just complicated. Now, the stereotypes would have us say that art and business are two separate things. But I'll tell you, as an artist, a working artist for over 30 years, getting paid for my creativity, but having to deliver under budget and on time, art is a business. But what can business learn from the arts? In the next 3 weeks, this podcast is going to be exploring that. Now, art and business have been a theme through my whole life. I've been dedicated to the art of great communication since I first walked on stage at the age of 5. And I heard my mom telling her friends, she was the best damn bunny rabbit to ever grace the stage of the hillside school. And I was hooked. I went from acting to directing opera singers, to running an opera company. And now I get to leverage all that experience as I train business leaders, not just in charisma and confidence, but also the strategy that will get you the results that you want. When I first started Speakers Who Get Results, I thought about interviewing performers. After all, I can see 100 times a day how the work I did in the opera informs the work I do with business leaders. But I decided to focus on things that were of more direct use to people who were using their presentation skills in business. We talked about leadership and visibility and the things that are behind giving you the courage to step forward and be a presenter. We also talked about the mechanics of producing your voice and the challenges of international communication. And of course, I've done several solo episodes on how to be a great speaker or getting speaking gigs, or even to make a content-heavy speech interesting. But all along, I was thinking, I want to do those arts interviews. Well, it's finally time. This is the beginning of the special mini-series within Speakers Who Get Results called The Relationship Between Business and Art. We're releasing it at the end of the summer in 2020 as a tribute to all those theaters around the world who would normally be ramping up for a fall season at this point. Please God, they'll be able to have a fall season next year. In the next 9 episodes, I'll be discussing the relationship between business and art with opera singers Janae Bridges, Lawrence Brownlee, and Christine Goerke, and rock singer Valerie Day. I'm also talking to pianists, coaches, and conductors such as Maestro Stephen White and Kathleen Kelly. Tenor and artistic director Darren Woods gives us some very useful information about stepping from employee to management. And it's not just opera. I have an interview with Filippo Petteni, who is an international art lawyer and art advisor. He's going to tell us about how negotiating for a raise is not that different from negotiating to sell a Picasso. And this is the event industry. I work in the event industry, producing events. So the design world is represented by Colleen and Bob Bonniol of Mode Studios. They design and produce big events. And the thing I love about them is instead of bemoaning the loss of the in-person projects they had coming up, they're excited about the future of the event industry, where it can go and where the virtual event industry can make a difference. In the conversations with these very smart people, some themes have come up over and over. We talk a lot about branding and positioning, because your personal brand and how you stand out as someone to be promoted, followed, hired, that's a core part of a performer's life. How can you stand out from the crowd? How can you be interesting? How can you make sure you're noticed for the things you want to be noticed for? The singers, conductors, and pianists have a lot to say about this. Are you part of a minority in your field? Is the dominant culture full of people who don't look like you? Lawrence Brownlee and Janae Bridges have some very important things to say about being an African American in a mostly white industry. Gender parity and women's rights is a big theme in this podcast and has been from the beginning. Kathleen Kelly and I have great fun delving into women's roles in business, from the rivalry in the 19th century between the piano virtuosos Clara Schumann and Franz Liszt, to how Kathy managed when she was the first American to be the director of musical studies at the Wiener Staatsoper, the Vienna State Opera. There's so much more in these interviews. And yet the one theme that has come through all of them, the one message I would give to everybody, is the key to success is to be the best you that you can be. I can't wait for you to hear all these interviews. They're coming up in the next 3 weeks. So please subscribe to Speakers Who Get Results on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll delve into the relationship between business and art.
We have just concluded another great episode of Speakers Who Get Results with your host, Elizabeth Bachman. If you got value from today's episode, please feel free to share us with your friends and colleagues. You may also visit elizabethbachman.com for additional resources. Be sure to tune in every week for new episodes, and thanks for tuning in.